Hey, everyone, and welcome to Building with Vitality, the podcast that's all about helping you live your best life.
And we're your hosts, Nikki and Paige. We're going to give you all the tools to help build a life that's full of vitality. Let's dive in.
Welcome back to Building with Vitality. Today's episode, we are thrilled to have Jess Gunn on, who is a certified personal trainer and nutrition coach. So Jess is a stay-at-home mom of four who had literally
Not
never
is,
picked up.
was.
Yes, was. Who had never picked up a weight in her life, never stepped into a gym, never worked out at all, turned world-renowned fitness trainer and coach.
That is a bio.
Yes. I know. I was like, that makes me sound way cooler than I think I am.
You are not.
Jess is the coolest.
Yeah, I just like to lift weights.
No, you are amazing. So today we are talking a lot about her personal fitness journey, her way of coaching other women, get the confidence to start working out, and the importance of lifting weights.
And feeling strong.
Yes. So Jess, tell us a little bit about your journey, just quick version of your journey, why you started, what gave you the confidence, and kind of I know you had this kind of moment in your life where you were like, okay, I got to change something. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. There was probably two experiences I've had that I think helped shift like everything. My own mentality of how I viewed this journey. I hate that word, but it's probably the best word to use is journey. I'm like, what's a better word to use than journey?
I don't know.
Process or
Quest.
deal. Yeah. Because some days are great and some days suck.
Maze.
So I'm like
Roller
up and down. Yes, the up and down. But there are two things that like I think help define it. And then interesting enough are like the pinnacle of like, I think of most of my coaching. Like I'm known for two different things of preaching the same thing over and over and one was I always chased the scale, right? I had 4 kids. I was late 30s and I was very irritable, tired. Mom guilt was terrible, right? I just didn't feel good and all that came out on my family and I hated it. I just didn't know what to change. Yeah. So I kept thinking like if the scale went back to where I used to be, right? Because I put on 25 pounds, I'm not myself, that's it. Like, okay, I just got to lose weight. I quickly realized that wasn't the answer to being happier. And when I shifted from the random diets up and down, right? Trying this, trying that, different workout plans. I'm going to run, I'm going to eat as little as possible. It never occurred to me to enter a gym. Like that's what fit young athletes do. Like it was like gyms didn't even exist. That wasn't even a thing. It was like, I tried running. Like I tried everything I hated before I even thought of going to a gym. And so I think the big turning point for me was, I share this story often, but it's what changed everything is my daughter, my little girl, was a couple years old at the time and we were in the bathroom and she was brushing her teeth. And so she's brushing her teeth and I will admit I'm a little bit of a germ phobe, even in my own bathroom that I clean. And so she drops her toothbrush, no big deal, into the sink and I lose it. Cause it's like, it's late. I want you in bed. I now have to get you a new toothbrush or sterilize it or something. And she looks up at me with these huge blue eyes and was just like, Mom, like, what did I do this time? And oh my gosh, it makes me emotional every time I talk about it. I realized like in that second, nobody, and I mean nobody, will remember how skinny you are.
Right.
My kids aren't going to talk back at reunions, years from now saying, Mom was so skinny, that was awesome, right? They don't care.
Yeah.
They care how you make them feel.
Yeah.
Everyone around us. And that's what it dawned on me. It was like, okay, that didn't work trying to get skinnier anyways, like trying to get back to where my pre-baby weight was. Like what I felt like, oh, I was happier then. And I didn't realize that it wasn't so much about that I didn't necessarily recognize my body after having kids. And I was still adjusting to it. I didn't move the same. I get all of that. But I wasn't taking care of myself mentally, physically, in any capacity, eating movement-wise. And so I felt like crap and it came out in my family. And so I shifted from, okay, the skinny thing isn't working. I'll look at what I'm eating and getting better movement. And so when I really focused like on those things, the why to get out of bed at 6 a.m. was greater. It was great enough to get me up. Whereas before I was like, oh, if I want to go to the gym to be skinny again, to lose 5 more pounds, no, I'll get skinny tomorrow. Snooze. Yeah. Right? And I was like, I'll get skinny next week. I'm going to have this piece of cake. I'll get skinny next week.
Yeah.
And it just did not stick. It wasn't enough why for me.
Yeah.
And so when I really had a good reason of like, I need to get healthy mentally and for my family and my kids, that's where everything shifted.
So you can, so you can be kinder to everyone around you.
And I knew the body, like I still didn't feel comfortable necessarily in my body because I didn't recognize it, didn't move the same. My clothes didn't fit. But I knew that would come as a side, like as a byproduct, right? Yeah. As something that, after a lot of work would be a great benefit, but it wasn't the main motivator, which was huge for me in shifting like, okay, why am I doing this? But then I also fast forward, I end up in a gym for the first time, and I see, it was a 2-story in a 24-hour fitness. And so the top level was all the cardio, like the treadmills. And I'm standing back here. I'd just been hired as a trainer, knowing nothing. Literally, like I didn't know how to use anything. I didn't know what any of the terms were.
That
and
is
these
so wild.
coaches were so nice to help me. The guy, my friend, hired me because he's like, you're amazing with people. Like, you're going to help these women. I'll teach you everything. So I'm like, yeah, sure. And then I get in there and I was like, what is all this? And
What a cool opportunity though for you.
I was so grateful that he believed in me and figured he could, like, I had what it took. It was just the knowledge. And at this point, I had been trying all cardio. Everything was from home at cardio. And so I see this top level of people on the treadmills. And they're like hunched over, because this is what I look like when I'm on the treadmill also, sweating and bored to death. And I've seen them for quite a few days on there. They don't look any different. They're on for hours. And then I glance down right in front of me on the main level is this huge cable machine with a pull-up bar. And there's this girl about my age, like almost 40. And she would do 2 push-ups, jump up, 2 pull-ups. And she just went back and forth, back and forth. I had never seen anything like this. Because none of my friends were like huge gym goers. So it wasn't like I'm surrounded by this. Blew my mind. So at that point I was like, holy cow, like it isn't about getting skinnier. I realized in that moment, like I want to do hard crap.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know who that is, but I liked that she had like definition and it was a little bit more of a tough thing. She did. And
she
the
had
look
the
on her face
energy.
is confident. And when she finished, she was like exhausted, but she just looked so happy and fulfilled and like the badass. And me, this little stick, like stay-at-home mom, no athletic, I had no muscle, like nothing. And I was just like, I want to be her. Nothing. Because I had tried hanging on the pull-up bar we have at home that my husband used. And I would just hang. I mean, like my kids would be like, move, mom. And I would be like,
you're like, I can't do it.
Like nothing, right? Yeah. So I had this visual of cardio strength. And I looked up and looked down and I was like, that looks miserable. That looks awesome. And so a couple weeks later, I got the guts because I like really looked up to this lady and said, can I ask how many pull-ups you can do in a row, like wide grip pull-ups? She's like, 13, it's taking me years to get to this point. And so I was like, can't do 1. I'm going to do 13 pull-ups one day. And so like a year ago, I hit that. And I bawled because I was like, I did 13 pull-ups because it took me so long. Do you know who that lady was?
Like, do you still talk to her at all?
No clue.
Isn't that crazy how she had such an impact on your life?
Yes. Well, and I'll always talk about her. And so it's those little things in the gym or at home, like around us, we don't necessarily know. But to me, that was like my second huge thing of like, it's not about eating as little as possible. It's not about hours of cardio, not about fat loss in the gym. Like I wanted strength.
Yes.
I wanted mobility. And I also wanted a different shape of body. I always just thought I wanted skinnier, but I actually wanted a different shape. And that is a completely different plan than just eating less and getting skinny. Right. And so like everything shifted. I'm like, I got to eat differently because I want to build that muscle. I got to learn the right type of training. And, and I still get on the treadmill for steps, but it's different. It's now not for fat loss. It's because I enjoy it and I need more daily steps.
Right. Yeah. And you want your heart, you want heart healthy, happy.
Yes. Yeah. There's so many benefits of cardio, but I wasn't using it in the right way. And then I felt terrible about myself. And
because so many people are under eating, doing a bunch of cardio, and then they don't have energy to actually train. Whereas like you have to fuel your body, you have to be eating so you actually have the energy to lift heavy things.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it.
It's a completely different plan because when I was thinking I would skip breakfast and I'd be so proud of myself. Like, yes, I didn't have those calories. Like I'm going to lose that amount of weight. And then I'm like, oh, I'm not super hungry at lunch. I'll eat less lunch. Yeah. Thinking that's how you did it. And to your point, I was way under eating. And so which fueled me not feeling great. And then I would late at night binge on sugar. Like the treats my kids had, and sugar killed me. Like that was the first nutritional change I made because I didn't know where to start. I never read a food label. And so I'm like, well, common sense tells me I shouldn't have had like 8 like sugar treat snacks today. I'll probably cut back on that.
But a couple of days. That's perfect. But the key for that too is when you are on a workout regimen, you want to fuel your body. And so then that kind of helps the mindset of, okay, if I'm going to lift weights and and I need the energy for this, like I need to focus on fueling my body so it can actually lift heavy weights.
But that doesn't mean you have to eliminate, I think, like all of the things. Like I was just listening to a gal, she's a nutrition coach as well, but she gets rid of like the kind of what we talk about sometimes is good versus bad.
There's no good or bad food. It's a food.
Yes. And she was training her kids. I thought this was really cool because she actually trains women that have kids that go through eating disorders because of the parents. You know, the crazy almond mom is like what like they're saying. Well, there's parents that come to this lady for coaching to help the kids because the parents thought they were helping the kids be healthy, honestly not letting them eat all of this food and not eating it themselves. And then they began to get eating disorders because they didn't want to disappoint their parents. So this lady talks about how showing your kids, like, you should give them like a little treat in their lunches every day, so it shows them it won't be gone tomorrow. So then it trains them. And I thought that was really cool.
That's such a great perspective.
That is really cool.
And people don't talk enough about this. I think if I were to say like one thing that has kept me maintain this as a lifestyle for now 5 years and very healthy is I protect at all costs my relationship with food and movement and exercise. Like, there's things I've wanted to do or diets to try or like different things or like competing. And it's like, oh, no way. Because for me, because I know myself, like I have a very healthy relationship with food.
Yes.
I have zero guilt after I eat something. Okay, I had the cheese, pizza, and the soda, whatever. Like tomorrow I go back to my normal plan because it's life, right? It is life. And I don't want to feel deprived. I have a treat every single day.
Yeah.
I just make sure it fits in my calorie amount. And I look forward to it. And I think I know I have that because my mom has such a healthy relationship with food. It was never about her weight. She never once in my entire life growing up commented on her body size or shape.
That is
or nothing.
amazing.
That
We
is
need to, like,
amazing.
zoom in on
time.
that.
Never.
That is amazing.
No memory of like her complaining or even looking in a mirror or mentioning it or looking at how much food. Never, ever did she mention anything. She just gave us nutritious food. We ate out. We had, a balance of like treats. Like it was just movement. We were very like, I wasn't because I
you
sucked
guys were
at
an
everything.
athletic family.
But all my siblings minus me, like they're athletic. And so we lived at these parks and fields and it was just about eating good food, lots of food. And so my sisters and I, like not one of us have any issues with it.
Yeah.
Exactly to your point. And so with my girls, obviously I went, I didn't talk about it either because I didn't even know I didn't even know women talked bad about their bodies or complained. Like it was like, wait,
that.
what? You complain about your weight? Like your weight's just your weight.
Yeah.
And so it really was my mom. But then I had to realize like, what do I want to set for my kids? Because when I shifted from, I also was very healthy relationship with it, but then I got unhealthy where I ate too much crap. So I had to shift down to like, okay, instead of like 4 of these things, guys, let's have one healthy and then this, or let's have a healthy before we have this. So I like made very small improvements.
Yeah.
So now that it's my whole lifestyle, I have to be very aware of like, if I'm not eating this, I explain to them, I have a gluten intolerance. So I'm not eating this because it's the gluten and I want my body to feel great.
Yeah.
We're eating this food to feel great. We're gonna have a treat, but we're not gonna have 4 treats because we want to feel good.
Yeah.
You're never deprived. Like they see me
I
have the
love
ice
that.
cream when I have ice cream with them. I just don't have ice cream every night because I vary the treats that I have.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's about
I
strength.
love that. I love that. So walk us back, because I still can't believe you've only done this for 5 years, because you have the best arms I've ever seen. And I've been lifting for over a decade, and I do not have those arms. But what's cool is you went in there, and you also have really good form. So we did an episode about, like, that's one of the first things that we recommended was get someone who can honestly help you know how to do things correctly, because that can impact the longevity of you even being able to go to the gym, because you might hurt yourself, things like that. So how did you even learn? Because you're also super outgoing, where you went up to people probably and got help. So like, walk us through that.
Have you seen my videos when I first started at 24 Fitness as a coach, which leads me to like, I don't know how trainers are ever passed a certification. I'm like, you let me do this? Like, I don't know what I'm doing.
That is amazing.
My form was awful. Like, there was a video of me doing a push-up. I couldn't even identify. Like, I was like, is that a plank? Is it a plank hold? Is that a plank? Like, what am I trained to do? Because it was so bad. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's like an attempt at a push-up.
Yeah.
But I quickly learned, like, to see results, I had to understand how to move. Like, what's the best... I would hear terms and I'd be like, what does that term mean? So like, what's the best way to move most efficiently? Like best bang for your buck. And so, no, I have certain people that I will always credit that let me, a friend that was another coach that let me lift with him. He didn't necessarily say, this is why we're doing this or explain anything. I would write down every exercise that we did. I would lift and follow him. And then at night I'd go home and Google and YouTube everything he'd said.
Okay, you are so methodical.
So because I wanted to learn, I was hungry to learn because it wasn't about the skinniness. It was about, I want to change. So if my goal was to do a single pull-up, which it was, I had to understand what I was doing. And so I was so grateful for that. So and there were other people that I'd lifted with, and I would just take notes because I didn't want to bother him, because I'm like, just let me lift with you, but I won't interfere with the workout. So I'd Google all this stuff. And then after about probably 2 years, I'd seen gains, but I knew I wasn't deadlifting correctly. I knew I wasn't my push-ups weren't correct, and I wasn't feeling it in the right way. And it was like, I don't know, my shoulder would tweak or whatever. And so then another coach, Dawn, I ended up reaching out to and said, hey, your form is flawless. Like, that's what you're known for. Help me. Like, I've learned how to lift kind of backwards. Now I need the form. And so you find people that are better than you, and then you just learn. And so now when with arms, like it's all time under tension. Like it's not just picking up, you know, we move them as fast as we can.
Yeah.
It's like, before I even move, I think I engage. So it's not even just picking up a weight.
I love watching
and
you
like bringing it. It's like engage and then pull. And they're like such silly things, but like you don't break your wrist. You don't come all the way up to rest it.
I can see your face, like when you're at the gym, when we go to the gym together, I can see you like literally tying it to your brain. 100%. And I don't do that a lot. Like I do go through the motions because it has been so long since I've been lifting, but I think it's so important to always remember that. So for someone that doesn't feel comfortable going up to someone and getting help, like what would you recommend?
Yeah, because I got lucky because it was an employee. Like I don't think I would have just gone to somebody in the gym and
I
be
feel
like,
you would have though.
I mean, I do now.
You
Okay,
went up to that pull-up lady though.
That is true.
Yeah.
Okay, I take that back. Because I like being like the weakest in the room or the dumbest or the poorest in the room, like whatever that is, because there's an opportunity to learn. I'm not competitive, so it's like you're amazing at that. Like, can I ask or can I pay for your time?
Yep.
Do you have something I can follow or buy? Because I always want to learn how to do something a little bit better.
That is a really good point.
Yeah, it's a great skill.
Yeah, Jess, like I think for those of you that want to be the best or don't really realize you want to be the best, don't think like that. I think like the best thing that you can do is try to hang around people that are better than you in a lot of different areas. And then you also will like bring value to them in other ways.
Yeah,
But
that's how you learn and
that
grow.
is huge, Jess.
It's 100%. So I like if I do a lot of now as a coach and have this as a business and wanting to help other women learn how to lift properly, it is honestly why. Well, okay, two quick things. You said my arms. That's what started my whole business.
They're great.
So online, I'd get Instagram DMs because my account was growing, and this gal in Idaho said, "Will you write me out a workout plan? I'll pay you." And I was like, "Well, it's great. I'm transitioning out of the gym. COVID had just hit. Like I'm trying to work out at home." So I like did this Excel sheet. It was super ghetto with like YouTube videos of other people's YouTubes because I didn't have videos. And she would complain. She's like, "I've been doing this for 2 months and I still don't see like my arms don't look like yours yet." And I was like, "Stop. Like your arms will never be my arms. This is my strongest version. You have to build your strongest version.
And you have to love your own body because we're all going to look so differently.
Like, these are my strongest, but we're building your strongest." And then she so fast said, "Well, then give me your workouts and I'll build my strongest version on your same workouts." It's like, why did I never think of that? Like my workouts work. And so, because I write all my own workouts. And so that's what literally started my whole coaching app. I was like, well, if she wants them, why don't I give my workouts to everybody? And so I decided to film all of it and put it into a coaching app. So like I now have a home program and a gym program where you just wake up and it's the progressive overload, which is what you need.
Yes.
But kind of harder to do and people don't understand. But so that's what started is like literally the arm comment.
So so take us back because I get really fascinated with how someone even starts something from scratch when they have no idea how the heck to even do it. So like, what did you do to get started with that?
I asked people, like, honestly, I tell people, like, you put your kids in piano, you pay for a piano teacher. Like, well, yeah, the kid doesn't know how to play. He's not going to learn on his own. I can't teach him. I'm like, yeah, so why do we not pay for coaches? Like, because your kid plays for piano and they start chopsticks, right? Like ground one. And at a base level, and then every week they turn the page, they get a little bit harder, but they always have a teacher. But we, especially as women and sometimes moms, put money into kids over like your 6-year-old doesn't need a hitting coach for baseball yet. But yet you won't buy the one thing you need, but your 6-year-old has a hitting coach?
Yeah.
Like, they don't even know what the term is. And so we do that as moms because we love our kids. I've done the same thing. But when I'm trying to get a woman to like a mom or anyone to pay for a coaching program mine's like my cheaper one's $35 a month. It's nothing. We feel bad putting money into ourselves. But I said, you need to learn how to lift properly. So to answer that question, like I was fortunate to have people to lift with that I'll always credit that taught me. And then I took it and ran with it. And I know people don't have that opportunity. And so I was like, well, then if they don't have the opportunity to pay for these coaches that I feel like are so good and have friends that help, I'll take all that I've learned and I'll put it in an app so that they can just use my stuff. It's almost like, let me go through the hard work and I'll just give you something to follow.
I love that.
Yeah, then they don't have to think about it.
100%. And so with the business, it was just my greatest fear, because I had a lot of fears. And so the greatest one was, what if this fails? And so then I had, I think that if I were to say like a mantra or something that I think about when you're just starting something new is like, I ask myself 10 times a day, what is the worst that's going to happen? So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it. Because if I don't do it, someone else will. I might as well do it. I think I have something to share. But I always say, if I do this, what's the worst that's going to happen? It's not phenomenal.
Right.
It's good. I mean, nobody knows the difference. And so I was like, well, okay, so I'll put these in take them out of an Excel sheet. And so then I asked someone else. I went to the gym. I always try to find like the smartest person I know. Okay, you're doing this well.
You are resourceful.
Yeah.
No, if I were to describe like one of Jess's best traits, it is being resourceful. She is very resourceful.
Yeah, because people are good with things. And so I never take it for granted. I'm always off. I will pay you for your time. But can you just tell me what platform you use? And this was another guy at Voss that was one of my coaches when I was training there. And so he walked me through Trainer Eyes. And so I'm so grateful for him because that's what got me on the platform. And so then I just take these little things. And then I finally, though, got over the imposter syndrome because the problem was I'd ask and ask and ask. And then it was like too many things coming in. And I'd step back and say, Jess, like, you know what you're doing. You've built your body. You've helped so many clients so far. Make it yours. So then I'd actually written a couple programs and had somebody film me with what he thought I should be doing. And it was great, but I was like, that's not me. And so then I scrapped all of it, wrote my own workouts, refilmed them, and literally was just like, found a guy that has saved my life that helps me with my, building my websites and does all my graphics. And like, he's helped me build all of this. And it was just the two of us. And it was like, let's just put it out and we'll see how it does. What's the worst that can happen?
I think the key here too is you were making yourself available to all of these people and being really open, where these opportunities came to you because you were taking the action. I think so many people have analysis paralysis and they're like, okay, what do I do? But if you just do one thing, then you do two more things, then you're going to start to see it. Like everyone just starts to see it. And that's what's so beautiful about your experience specifically, is it just was the domino effect.
It's been fun. But it's definitely, I mean, it's me that's done it ultimately, but I could never have done it without so many people. Like, oh my gosh, just, I mean, my kids, so my gym program, and then I have a home program, my whole home program is filmed with my kids. So like, it's my daughter behind this nice expensive camera I finally built or bought after using my cell phone. So we bought this nice camera, and it's like at the time, what was she? 10. And then my 8-year-old that would hit pause, record, fast forward. Like it literally was
Free
what I could do.
Yeah.
So I'd be like, what do you want? Oh, I want my nails done. And so you don't have to have the very best. Like I started with a cell phone, and then I did get a nice camera, but it's my daughter, my little girl that's filming. And you do what you can. And it's all those people, from my family to the other coaches to my web guy, just people that were like, you'll do well.
Yeah. And just starting, I mean, you walked inside a gym and started being a trainer before you really knew like everything.
That is
and I
cool.
think
Knew
like,
nothing.
I mean, Paige and I were just having this conversation of sometimes I actually paralyze myself of, I think I have to know everything because I'm like, no, I have to see how all the pieces fit together.
And I'm like, it's too much.
I know. I'm too much sometimes. No, but like you won't even be able to see all the pieces or have all the pieces until you get started. And that's actually us starting this podcast. Like our very first episode, we were like, okay, we have an intention. We know what we're going to do. We have all these like great ideas, but like part of our thing too was like, we don't know exactly some of how it's going to fit.
Or who our audience is, which it's mostly ladies. Thank you, ladies.
Yes, thank you. Just shout out to our audience. But like, it was so funny because after we did the first episode, we were like, oh, now so many more things make sense because we actually did it. And now we can adjust from there, but you can't adjust and you can't like continue to improve if you don't start.
Yep.
Well, you nailed it, because again, what's the worst that can happen? Like people don't understand that with building my body at first, right? I was building. It's not I had to switch gears from like fat loss to scale. I'm like, nope, I'm going to build it.
Yep.
And once I build it, I know everything else will kind of fall into place.
Yep. Right.
And then I was like, crap, I feel so much better. I have to help women feel better.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let's focus on the strength. I can guarantee strength gains, right? I can't guarantee fat loss. It's not calories in, calories out. There are many reasons we don't have fat loss, right? Yeah. And that's what it just hurts our soul, and we don't feel like we're enough because we're not seeing these changes we want. But I can guarantee you strength gains. I'm like, I'll be the strength side of it. I'll help you build something, confidence and all that. And as I did it, like I did the best I could in putting this app out there. I never, like, no one thinks they're worth enough. So I'm like, here's $25 a month, right? I'm like, it'll be super low.
And I was in the background like, Jess, you gotta up your prices
I was
right
like,
now.
I was like, because it's not worth it yet. Like, I didn't feel, I knew it was good, but I knew it was like the first draft. So even like with my body, right? I did the best I could because we only know what we know. And I tried cardio and all that. It was the best I could do. And then I drafted again and ended up in the gym. And so it's like, I'm on my like 10th revision of trying to figure out what works for my body. Same for my business. And so my program, I got like 6 months in and realized the workouts were too hard. My clients were dropping like flies. And I'm like, why aren't they sticking? And then I realized, well, you asked for my workouts. I gave them to you. I made the mistake of giving them my workouts at year 5 of lifting, not year 1. So then I was like, why didn't I think of that? So then I went back, redid, like added like my express version is what I call it. So I have my full workouts, which are longer, more sets, but the same workout, but less sets and exercises. So you can do it as a beginner or like me at year 1.
Right.
I have rebuilt, oh my gosh, I now need to go back and redo all the exercises and do the reprogramming. I've rebuilt my website probably 3 times. And so starting whatever it is I do, I'm like, this is awesome. I know what I know, nothing to lose. I'll do a first draft. And then after a little while, second draft. And so when you take that mentality of like, I'm building, nobody builds something perfectly the first time. You just kind of wing it, but it does end up where you want it.
It's actually, in my opinion, a waste of time to try to get something out there that is potentially in your eyes perfect, because you don't even know what the market is going to say until you get it out there. Like it might be completely different anyways, and then you'd have to redo all the work. So you might as well just launch it, get it out there, and then gather all the data and feedback, and then make it a little bit better as you go.
Yeah.
And that's the same
Thanks for
thing.
the pet talk, guys. I really needed that today.
We all do need it. It is. It's all the
I
time.
think we all need it in some aspect of our life. Because I think I'm great at taking action in certain things, but then other things I'm like,
Analysis paralysis.
analysis paralysis.
And then my problem is I go like, I could do this and this and this and this. And then I'm like, everything is done halfway instead of done well. And so we learn, and to take it back to like women with changing their lives and mindsets and bodies. We know what we know because it's what we've been taught. We've been taught like from most, not my mom, but like most people, eat as little as possible, do hours of cardio. Like protein's going to make you bulky. Don't lift weights. And so we have to, it's the shift of not under eating, but like fueling the body, eating things to build a strong body. And you will find the body shape and the body fat right where you want it to be. But you got to figure out what works for you. But it starts with the mindset of like, why am I doing this? And understanding relationship between exercise and food.
That mindset that you just described, like the word that popped into my mind was scarcity mindset, where you're like, you're scared to eat. It's just scarcity. But then the abundance mindset of, okay, I'm going to eat to fuel my body. I'm doing this out of love and abundance rather than fear and scarcity.
You want to feel better.
Right. Yeah. So,
Eat your food.
Yes.
Protein. I'm always taking
protein with every meal, guys. Protein with every meal.
And you're a good example of that. To me, like when we go out, I always notice what you get. You pick your protein, and it's like, okay, yeah. Even when I go out, like in all situations, it's easy to do. It's just you have to make the habit.
Yes. Yeah. So, okay. And I remember you have the term one more rep, right?
So
okay.
With food. So kind of my tagline with food.
Sorry, back to lifting.
Yes. So it's, so between I try to do tags that help people realize like it's small manageable steps. So like understanding with lifting, I'm always like, I chase reps, not weight. It's just it's a way of looking at that's worked. And then I also have Death Plus 3, which is like how to find how heavy. Then with nutrition, like especially with protein, I have what I call my +1. So it's like, people will say, how do you hit your protein? Because it's overwhelming to hit 150 grams of protein a day. When it's not all bars and shakes, and crap, which I do have, but I try mostly whole foods. So I just say it's foods. Yes. It's the +1. So like if you're having a sandwich with 3 slices of ham, do a +1 and just have 4 slices. So if you're having 2 eggs for breakfast, do +1 and have 3. So you're starting with foods that you're comfortable with, you're already eating, you know how to cook them, you know you like them, and you can
adding
add
more protein
exactly
to it.
an exact amount. 2 ounces more of chicken, right? Just add a little bit more of what you're eating, and that right there will bump up your protein grams so much.
And you'll be satiated. Yeah, I love that.
It's not as overwhelming. It's just a little bit more.
Yeah, I love that. So going back to the gym side, so you have home stuff that you have going on and in the gym. So what does your program look like for listeners that are potentially wanting to get on some sort of program? But there are so many apps and things out there. Like, what do you do?
Things. And I get that. And every app is different. They're all great. Any movement is phenomenal. So I tell everybody, right? Like it's a level of effort. I have a level of effort scale, and like I started probably -3, but like you come in wanting to just do a little bit. And so as you gain more confidence, you're seeing more results, you get a little more comfortable, like you kind of increase your amount of effort. And so you can find programs that are really intense, and some that are just 2 days a week. So I try to tell people like, look at what you're currently doing. And so if you're able to be consistent at some sort of exercise twice a week, don't jump into a program that tells you must lift 5 times a week to see results. You're going to fail because you're only good at doing 2. So I think the biggest thing is we crush ourselves with unrealistic expectations and we feel like a failure. And all three of us talk all the time about how we want women to feel like they're enough and they're good and they're not failing at anything. We just have to find what we're good at. And so if you're consistently good at 2 workouts, join a program. And even if they offer 5 days, like mine offers quite a few days for the week, just do 3. Get really good at doing 3, build the confidence, build the habit. Then it's easy to do 3, and then you work on doing 4. And so with my program, there's a gym or home. And then there's like a full program. Like I said, it's like my workouts is a little bit longer, but also an express version. And so if you're a beginner or someone that's shorter on time, I just have the express program because I try to like keep it simple. Because I've gotten people's websites, there's like 8. There's a muscle building, a hypertrophy, a this or this, a lean building, and I'm like, I just want to get muscle mass and lose a little bit of weight. Like, what do I choose?
Yeah, and especially if you're a beginner, you don't even know what you want.
I don't even know what those mean.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just want to do a pull-up. What does that put me in? Yeah. So literally, it's like, do you work out at home or the gym?
Speaking of which, you're coming out with mini courses too of like training people how to train to do a pull-up.
Pull-ups and push-ups. Because those are the 2 things that I think women want to feel strong doing.
100%. When I did my first pull-up, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm amazing.
I am that, but with squats. Mine's different.
Oh, yes.
I'm like, when I can freaking squat heavyweight, I feel on top of the world.
But that's why it is good to have.
I'm not going to squat.
I think it's because you guys are both tall, and so you have longer to go.
Every time I'm like, you don't want to squat, great, I don't want to squat.
You guys, you need to squat.
Squatting still kind of scares me. No, not necessarily.
It's my knees.
Yeah, leg press,
I have like
elevated
every
squat.
excuse in the book. But I'm like, my knees.
I was told by a doctor it was bad for me. No, actually.
No, I have everyone else in my program do them. And I squat, like I'll do a goblet squat, but like barbell squats, like they hurt with my knees. You're either like hip dominant or knee dominant in movements. I love anything with like hip hinge. So give me deadlifts, good mornings, all that. Then I'm like, I must do the squat. If I tell my clients they have to do, they're like, what is this?
So with your course on your pull-ups, like walk us through what that is.
Yeah. So I'll be hopefully releasing both of those 2 in the next 6 months. It's just, we know what we know, right? And so I think back to where I was before and I get online and they're like, use an assisted pull-up band and you'll have pull-ups. Like, this is what's going to get you there. And I was like, that is a flat lie. Yeah. Like, because I got on one, it doesn't work. And so I want to have a course that I'm in the process of working with my friend Dawn and developing where it's going to walk you through literally how to strengthen your back. You have to strengthen your back, but we just don't talk about that. Or the heavier we are, the harder to pull up, right? So as we work a little bit on our diet, as we get the back strong by doing certain actual movements in the gym, you can do them at home, but it'll just take a little bit longer because you don't have as much weight to move out of machine. And then the mechanics of it, like you got to figure out how to get right, like scapular retraction. There's like you start a pull up by locking, not just by pulling with our arms. I thought it was a bicep exercise for years. I'm like my arms aren't strong enough, and I didn't realize it's your back because it's my arm that's pulling me up. And so it was someone that finally said, Jess, it's your back. And this is way before I started training. It's like, oh, okay, so I'm going to strengthen my back, like. You just know what you know. So I'm going to walk you through what to strengthen for each pull-ups and push-ups.
Wow, that's cool.
And then
you,
like
really
with the push-up, also you can't just do a push-up. Like your arms aren't here and our head is up. So it's like understanding mobility of the shoulder and strengthening the shoulder and wrist placement. A lot of women can't do the push-ups because of wrists. And so there's drills that will be in there to first start with, what are your wrists doing? Because you have to think every movement you make, what is my body doing? Where are my wrists? Where are my shoulders? Where's my pelvis? And then you perform it safely for one, but accurately.
A lot of people hurt themselves when they don't have the right form.
They do. And I was going to say too, if you guys don't have anyone that you can go to for form, Jess posts something, I would say probably like 3 times a week where you're correcting, hey, here's the right way to do it. Here's the wrong way to do it. And I even learned a lot from you on the ab, on like, I love watching your abs, all of that. So Gunny for Fitness is her Instagram handle. She does so much education on there and you'll just learn a lot, like truthfully.
Yeah. So Jess, just to wrap this up, if you could leave our listeners with one more piece of advice of if they're wanting to start a program and they just don't really know where to start or what to do, what would you say is the first step for them and what can you...
Or they want to enhance theirs for those that work out.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, all 3 of us are into fitness and health, and we want everyone to reach their goals, right? Ultimately, I want someone to look in the mirror and be proud of what they see. And it's always a work in progress. I'm still working on parts I want to shift, but at least we can look in the mirror and be proud and confident because we're building something. And that's like, if we can shift that focus from like, I understand body fat loss. I've been there too. I get all that. And I get that that's there, but like when you can look in the mirror and not see, hey, I want to lose this area of body fat, but look at what I built. And that comes from lifting, right? It's like strong mind and body. And so just just do some sort of movement, right? Any movement is great, but lifting is fantastic. It's what's going to build literally, I mean, it's everything. And so, my biggest piece of advice is it doesn't have to be me, but find somebody that can teach you how to do it properly. Because when you understand the mechanics of how to move, you're going to feel safer moving heavier weight. And then again, it all goes back to, I want them to reach their goals. But you have to understand like how to do it. And then that confidence when like, I'm sure you guys like in the beginning, never forget when I first caught a glimpse of my arm in the mirror, because I had like a shadow of a bicep line. I was like, stop, everybody, do you see it? Like, I see it. And so it overshadowed that I still felt like I had 15 pounds to lose, like, because I could build something. And I saw that it's changing the shape. And like you said with the pull up, I'll never forget when I did my first one. I'm not kidding. I told everyone in the gym, everyone I passed, I should pull up. Because you work so hard.
You should be proud of that.
Yes, that is amazing.
The same with you. We just want women to feel good and that they are enough. And a tool to do that, in addition to like for health reasons, is you'll feel better when you're doing hard things. And yeah, just find a program. I'd love to have you join mine. But it's more about, I like to just teach, like, let me teach you how to do it right, because you can lift heavier and you'll feel better. Yeah. And then you'll see your bicep line, and it just makes me smile because they're so happy. Strong. Like, it's strong.
Did you say your little mantra?
My feel, move, look.
Yes.
I had this shift that, like with clients, like, yes, I understand we want body fat loss. That will come for sure. When we focus on nutrition, right? Fat loss is nutrition, daily steps, not exercise. Like, exercise changes the shape of the body, how we feel, how we move, and all that. And so I had to like kind of decide, like, what's the process of helping people understand there's a difference. They go together well, but there is a difference. And so if I can get them to feel better, right, then they're going to move better, and then the looks come. So it's like the byproduct. And so it's always like, I want to help people find, like, feel, move, and look either their healthiest, strongest, best, whatever word choice, because it does flow. Like, you guys know, the better you feel like you're going to move, and then all of a sudden you're excited about the looks that come at the end. But
yes,
I love it.
I feel
love
good that radiates.
Yeah.
Do you have another mantra for the audience? It could be unrelated,
like your life,
like a life mantra. Like, you have the best kids ever. You are the best mom. Like, give us like a.
There's so many things I say.
I know. So she is wise woman among our group.
Yes.
We just are like, so whenever Nikki asks for advice, I'm like, okay, so here's my opinion. To be clear, it's my opinion, but go to Jess for like a really wise analytical approach.
No, it's easy to give advice to other people, but then I call you and I'm like, I'm paralyzed. What do I do? It's harder. Like, I can't take the advice myself.
Easier. I know. I'm like, I can see exactly what's going on with you guys, but then when it's like me, it's very.
Well, I'll give you advice, and I'm like, crap, that was for me. Like, I didn't care about what I just told you. Like, I needed to hear that. No, it's just, honestly, is like, we're too hard on ourselves. That's what I preach to my women, my clients, like my girls, my own daughters. Like, and anything you do, you have to give yourself realistic expectations, and don't compare yourself to anybody else. Because in anything that they do, like, they're on day 572 of this activity or this look. We have different body types. Like, we're meant to do different things. And so, it's do you, be you, find your healthiest, strongest version of you. And then just believe in yourself. Like, it's just small little things to change. But I think if we can accept and love ourselves and look in the mirror and get to a point to where instead of just seeing negative, you can see all negative and one positive.
Right.
Like, and then that shift will start.
It's like your theme is incremental progress
And everything.
Yeah,
truly. So that's probably the best way to sum it up.
You've lived that. That's what's so cool is we obviously know Jess very, very personally. We are really good friends with Jess, and everything that she said today, she lives. And that's what I think is so cool about you is I've never heard you say one bad thing about someone else or yourself. And it's so cool to see the progress that you've made and to see just you literally live what you're telling these other women. And that's why you can help women so genuinely and authentically, because you've literally lived this.
Yeah, it is. It's just the little things. Like you said, like, I try to surround myself by people that that do things better. And then if I'm in a room of people and I'm like, hey, that guy has a skill that I'd like to be where he is, I find out who taught him, and then I go learn from that person. It's like, I go up and up and up of like, well, who taught you? Okay, great. Then I'm going to go straight to that source. And so just,
again, resourceful.
Yeah,
That's the third takeaway today.
You're worth it.
Just be resourceful.
You're worth it. Moms, like, take a second to have a minute to yourself and get that movement in and invest in yourself. Because ultimately, the better we feel, which is what we keep saying, the better we feel, like, everyone else around us is happier, as we know.
Yes.
Right.
Mama
Yeah.
ain't happy, no one else is happy.
Yeah.
But you
love
can
that.
accomplish so much
And
more.
that's one reason why we value you being on the podcast so much, because it literally goes back to our mission at Building with Vitality is
Yes.
the more we take care of ourselves, the better we show up for everyone else.
Yes.
And so thank you so much for being here.
Well, it's
Thank
always
you,
fun to
Jess.
chat.
It was just a hangout sesh,
I know,
honestly.
these are our normal conversations when we
gosh.
go on road trips.
Well,
with
thank
Jess.
you guys so much for tuning in, and until next time.
Thanks for listening to Building with Vitality.
Be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more.
Love you guys.